underage drinking is a serious problem, and we feel it's high time the powers that be tackle the retail industry, forcing them to conform to international standards on the sale of alcohol.
We took to Lan Kwai Fong to ask partygoers what they thought, and we met up with youth charity Kelly in the studio to see just how serious the problem really is.
I think in Hong Kong, it's definitely something to really look at with a different eye, because if you look at the statistics, several studies in Hong Kong have shown that about the average age of first-time drinkers is about 10, and for some it could be 12, depending on the different research that has been done. And we think that it's more of a problem not because of the exact numbers, because people often ask us that question, how big is a problem? Because they're always looking at it from the angle of comparing to other countries. But in Hong Kong, what's really worrying is the trend at which it's escalating, the trend at which it's becoming not just an occasional drink, but more of a social pattern kind of drinking.
So when they talk about the studies, is this people who are experimenting and trying it for the first time, or has it gone from beyond experimentation to actually people at that young age who are actually drinking?
Well, I think the studies haven't been very comprehensive. Example, the one that I was just saying, it was done last year in April, and it was only focused on about 300 young women in Hong Kong. 94% of them were about under 17 years of age. And so if you look at it, it's not a comprehensive one, so it wouldn't be able to tell you the exact numbers for that particular thing that you would be interested in. And I think that's also part of the mystery of how we tackle the issue and to see whether or not it really is a big problem, because there aren't enough research, there aren't enough comprehensive research to really show that.
So in the work that Kelly does, how do you identify at-risk youth who are possibly going to become problem drinkers?
Well, I think at Kelly, what we do is we're very relatable to the youth, and I think that in order to identify, it's not really about zeroing in on somebody and saying, oh, you have a problem. It's not really about that. We're an organization that's really open. We're confidential. We're non-judgmental, and we want young people to feel that they can come and talk to us. And it's this open relationship that we really believe that we've started to really see certain patterns in the last 23 years that we've been in Hong Kong, patterns of like what I just mentioned, of young people having different reasons, feeling pressured, from their friends to look cool or to attain some sort of status in their community, to achieve something that other people will look at them and say, yeah, you're a young person that's doing something in the world. And I think as young people, as teens, they're seeking after independence. A lot of them are trying they're struggling. It's that very tender age where you're trying to be an adult but you're not quite there yet.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of things to prove.
I think 10 is way below that age, though. I mean, that's sort of 15, 16.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Do the schools take a part in working with you and saying, listen, we've got people that may have a problem?
Yeah, well, we don't have that kind of proactive nature. However, we do work with schools in doing a lot of preventative education. I think one of the things that we've really realized is education, is the fact that a lot of people don't really know. They're not really aware. They're not aware of the laws. They're not aware of the consequences.
The problem is there is no law,
and
this is where we have a serious problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is about educating, not just the young people, but their families, other people who are working with young people like Kelly, government, retailers, the alcohol industry. I think, everybody needs to be aware and to be educated of what can happen and the consequences that they have on young people.
When they did the studies, did they ask the simple question, where are you getting access to the alcohol? Was that raised?
There have been some studies who have shown that some of them are finding it from their friends. They're getting it from their friends. They're getting it just on the streets, convenience stores. They're able to access it, from parents' cabinets, that sort of thing. I mean, from at least from what we have been exposed to, those are some of the sources that we have really found.
I think it's fair to say that most people, when they're young, will try and they'll experiment. Everybody wants to go out to clubs when they're 15, 16. It involves alcohol, it involves partying. but I think there needs to be some sort of barrier where, you know, you really shouldn't be doing this. In Hong Kong, as it currently stands, you can do it because you're not doing anything wrong. And what would you say the best way to actually, what would you implement to cut it down?
I think really it'd be tackling the reasons why young people drink, and for everyone to understand that. Because for us, we're always looking at the root causes of why young people do what they do. Why do young people drink? Why do young people do drugs? You know, and I think when you understand why young people do what they do, you're able to then support them properly and to put the right parameters to enable them to continue developing in a positive way. And one thing that's also the reason why we're so big on education, is that we understand that young people, again, is the negative peer influence. It's also the accessibility of it and how they can just easily get a hold of it. And I think partly is also the ignorance that people don't really know what's happening, or how the alcohol can affect them in the long term. Because the culture, a growing culture, is this social behavior going on alcohol. You know, if you go out to hang out with friends, you have to have alcohol, you know, and I think that a part of the education is saying that, you know what, you can hang out in a social setting and you don't have to have alcohol. You can have an alcohol-free party and you can still have a good time, and you can still be able to engage socially, and you can still be an integral part of a cool community, you know, without having to have alcohol. And I think that there is this misperception nowadays that, you know, alcohol is a must, and that transcends across young people to adults.
I think it'll also transcend borders as well, in that these are problems that are faced in every other country in the world, yet retailers and the government in particular make a point of limiting the access to it, of alcohol to it. Do you think in Hong Kong more should be done to prevent easy access?
I definitely think that more can be done. I think more can be done on the part of everyone, the entire community, you know, starting with the young people, and then their families, and then different interest groups, and of course the government, and then the alcohol industry themselves. I think that everybody needs to be more vigilant into looking at this particular issue and to protecting our young people.
Applying for and maintaining a liquor license in Hong Kong is about as onerous as it gets. License holders are personally interviewed and are subject to aggressive license checks by up to 8 policemen at the same time. Now, we agree that the sale of alcohol should be strictly controlled and that regulation ensures safety. But after spending $10 million on a bar, do you really think a club owner is going to run the risk of losing his license by breaking the law? What do you think the legal drinking age in Hong Kong is?
I believe it'd be around 18.
Did you know that Hong Kong has no minimum drinking age unless you're inside a bar or restaurant? That means that a 14-year-old can walk into a convenience store anywhere in Hong Kong, buy alcohol and drink until he's fall down drunk without breaking one single law. How the hell did that one get by our pedantic lawmakers, and why hasn't our government done anything about it?
It's a serious question, but how are they tackling it? They're talking about bringing the wine tax back, and it's ridiculous. Surely the easiest way to prevent underage drinking in public is to limit the opportunity minors have to purchase it. Our elected officials should be doing everything they can to prevent convenience stores in high-risk areas like Lang Kwai Fong from selling alcohol. Are they? No, they're too busy objecting to the issue of strictly controlled bar and restaurant licenses who actually do conform to the law.
We challenge our city's councillors, the Liquor Licence Board, and our lawmakers to tackle this issue now. We've created a petition at this URL, and we've put the link on our website and Facebook page too. Sign it and help us make a difference.